Hey, everybody. Happy Wine Wednesday. I am sipping on something different for once. I'm in California with Holly, and I've got me a what?
California Dream and Float.
California Dream. Zero
It's an
calorie.
orange cream
Yeah.
soda, diet, 0 calorie, orange cream soda with vanilla ice cream to
top
make
it
up
up.
for the loss of calories.
I also have with me, besides the Dream Float, she got me some red wine. It's like organic from the trees, or well, not from the trees, but
For the redwoods, probably.
yeah.
California wine.
So I'll be trying this while we're live. But I would also say, guys, that the connection here is a little bit, so if we come in and out, just let us know. Not much we can do about it, but but let us know either way. Hey Zen, good to see you. So it is, of
Here's
course,
my non-California drink.
not California.
Now I got to put reading glasses on so I could even see what you're holding.
Yep. And I would say, guys, like, it's been amazing being here. I've only been here for a couple of days, but I've seen the devastation that the fires created. I've seen the beauty that still remains. Holly showed me like so many cool things. We're going to see really cool things tomorrow. I'm really excited. But it's been really cool. I might get some sun after, a minute. But Holly's always like, you don't want this sun. It's too much sun. And I'm always like, give it to me. Anyways, I got to see her seahorses fed. I got to see her set up. I have a couple questions for Ray about what she asked me, and I didn't have answers for. I don't always have the answer, believe it or not. I'm also wearing one of Holly's really cool
Seahorse dresses.
Seahorse dresses.
Seahorse dress from Etsy.
So we're gonna work tomorrow on getting the Seahorse logo shirts done so that we can ship them off to everybody who's been a member already, and all the new members. Make sure we get those shirts going. Holly's in charge of making sure I get it done.
We'll see, because it'll be a late night for us.
We'll get her done. We'll get her done. But it's been amazing. I got to see her tanks. Her tanks cleanliness, Ray, I'll say this, puts me to shame. Like, her tank is so clean. Like, it makes me feel bad. Because I'm like, oh my God.
It's the way you talk about your tanks all the time, we know it anyway.
Shush it, Ray. So anyways, it is open chat, guys. I know I'm going on about the fun I'm having, but it's my first time in California. First time being with my buddy Holly in person.
Different than she expected, I'm sure, because most of you know, I'm in Northern California. I'm 2 hours north of Sacramento.
Yeah.
And about 2 to 3 hours from the Oregon border. So I'm in the forest part of California. I'm not at the beach or anything like that.
Not really a reunion Cora works because I've never been here.
Yeah,
but
it's
a finally meeting kind of thing. Yeah. So awesome.
First time in person meeting.
That's it. And it's been amazing.
And we're having a great time together. Oh my gosh. It's like a girl's vacation.
Not only is it a girl's vacation, but it makes me think that we need to do like seahorse meetups. Like, just with people who do seahorses. I don't know how to pull that off. I certainly don't have the finances to pull it off, but it's just really cool to meet people in person and get to know, what's going on in their area. I got to go to her fish store today. Amazing fish store, really, really quality fish products. I mean, like,
been in business, what'd she say, 45-year anniversary.
I don't have that in Indiana. Well, I mean, I've got the reef, but
you have more stuff in your stores, probably, like ours is. Really?
No, I thought that store was really excellent.
Nice.
I should have taken pictures. Of course, I did not. I took a couple because they have a cool display when you walk in. But we were kind of in and out because we were getting.
We were trying to get here in time and get the frozen seahorse food home fast in 110-degree heat.
It is literally 110 degrees. Everywhere I've gone since I got here, people keep saying oh, you're so lucky you came today because the temperature just dropped and it's 110. And I'm like, and they all blame me because Holly keeps telling it. First of all, I have to say, we will get to seahorses, I promise you guys. But first of all, I have to say, Holly has been amazing in that everywhere we go, she's like, this is the seahorse whisperer. And she has people from all over the world and da da da. So she's like advertising all the time, and it's great. Except for I'm like, what do I say now? Hi, But it's
seahorses are real. What?
Right. And so it's been amazing. I forgot what I was going to say. Dang it, I was going to say something else important about being here in the fish store. I can't remember. Mm-hmm. It'll come to me later. I don't know where I was. Where was I going with that?
With the fish store?
No, I had a point like coming here. Something I don't know. It completely gone. Completely gone. Sorry, we're crunched in here to be both in the camera.
That's what California Dreamin' does to you.
Oh no, I remember now. Right, the California Dreamin' will blame that. But I was gonna say, everyone that she meets or we meet, she says this is the Seahorse Whisperer and tells all about the channel, which is amazing. Going to help us a lot getting new viewership. But also, she's like, by the way. She's been asking for a year to come, and she's been begging for the hottest weather possible. So it's all her fault. And I'm like, yeah.
She tells me in winter, but I want to experience the heat. I want to be somewhere hot. And I'm like, well, you're experiencing it now. And she's doing really well because it is a dry heat. It's not like back east.
I love it. For anybody back in like Indiana or anything, that's the difference is like she just said, the dry heat. Like it's the
20% humidity.
When I walk outside here, it's hot. It is hot. You can't stay out there for very long, but it's also like it gets that way in Indiana too, where you can't walk outside for very long. But when you walk outside in Indiana, then you're like drenched in sweat. You can never get and you're dry. Like, yeah, it's humidity. Here, it's not. It's like I could tan here and be, not very long, but. Anyways,
we're starting to rival Death Valley in Northern California. We're setting records this week as far as heat, basically, is what's going on.
Hey to Shyla. Hey to, I already said hi, Cora Works. Hey, Fish Fam Link. It is open chat, guys, so we will chat about any questions you have, anything you want to discuss. As I told you a few weeks ago, we're going to get aqua balls back in here when I'm not in California, of course, to do like a stream showing us. I tried to figure out how to like zoom in on Holly's tanks, but it's just location, right? So at some point, maybe I'll get up and take a picture or something. Mm-hmm. But her tanks, here's the thing that I realized visiting her. And Ray, you'll like this part. And then I'm going to shut up, Ray, and we'll start talking about seahorses, I promise. This is about seahorses. But anyways, what I realized when I came here is that pictures don't always do justice. And I mean that about the pictures I took in the canyon, because like I showed my girls and they're like, it's pretty, but what the heck? And I'm like, no, you don't understand. If you're standing on the edge, it's like you almost have vertigo. Like you're like, oh my God, it's so wow. And then when it comes to our tanks, right? Because anybody, like I can show you guys how my tanks look now, or my tank looks now that I've added the macros, and it's gorgeous. But my tank is 40 gallons. So when I put my camera angle to cover that 40 gallons, it looks the same as if she puts her camera angle to capture her 75 gallon, and it's not the same. So one thing I would say is when you're looking at pictures of tanks and asking questions about people's tanks, ask the size, because her seahorses in pictures look the same size as my seahorses. They're not. Her seahorses are beasts. I mean, they are huge, like 9-10 inches. I'm not kidding you. They're huge. They're healthy. Sadie is like, I mean, she's
big,
beautiful seahorse. And so I was just like, I was even like surprised.
You're like wow, your seahorses are big. She said, well, are they? They're.
So
I don't have the experience to know. I'm like.
So while I'm obviously saying that Holly's done an amazing job and has great seahorses, I'm also saying when you're looking at pictures online, be aware that a picture can look deviating from the truth, I guess, you know, because
Hard to tell size.
right. I mean, like, again, if I put a picture, I'll put a picture, a post up of her tank and my tank side by side. Mine has live macros, hers has fake, but they look almost the same in terms of, you know, seahorse size and, you know, decorations or macros, whereas hers are much larger, right? So just something to keep in mind. And why aren't we driving down to see George? Where is George? I'm not even sure. He told me, I'm sure, but I
Aquaballs.
forgot.
I want to say he's in LA, right? It's a 12-hour drive to LA from
That
where
would
I
be
live.
why. We're way up north.
Yeah.
We're in the pretty country.
We're in the trees. I'm in the mountains. I'm between the Sierras and the Cascade Mountain Range. We're in volcano country here, so that's where I'm taking her tomorrow is to see volcanoes and volcanic activity.
I already have amazing pictures, you guys. As Holly warned me last week, it's really hard to upload here because they're surround. I'm living in a forest. It's so amazing. It's so cool. I want to stay forever.
It's
but
like camping here.
But and it's not really because I mean her house is amazing and everything. But
you could pitch a tent outside and you wouldn't know the difference.
Right. So. No, that's not true because your house is so nice. But
well, there's amenities here, but you're in the forest if you walk out the door.
Truth. And what I would say is the things I'm going to see tomorrow, I'm going to take more pictures. I will post them. Just it's when we're in town or when I get home. So I'll have lots of pretty pictures. All right, Ray. Ray's like, all right, stop talking about your girly fun and tell me what's going on. Okay, so here's the question that Holly asked me. Don't forget, you guys can all ask questions in the comments because if you don't ask questions, we're going to cover ours and be like, peace out, we're going to drink. But no, I'm kidding. But so, Holly, go ahead with your question about
how much have you had to drink already today?
Nothing.
Just now.
Maybe one glass of wine.
Yeah.
All right. But anyways, let Holly ask a question. I'm going to say what I answered, and then Ray, we're going to bow to your wisdom. Go ahead.
Okay. So what I asked her about, I showed her, I call it my Rodi maker, the RODI. And it's 5 stages. So it has 2 things of DI resin. It's got, 4 cylinders across with different filters and then tubes on the top that have the membranes. So what I was telling her is that I haven't changed my DI resin out in a year. And it's looking kind of brown to me, like, it changes color as you use it up. But there's 2 canisters of it. So there's one that I switch over, the cleaner one, and take out the dirty one, empty it, and fill it clean, and switch them out that way. People with RODI will know what that means.
They will, and I should have taken a picture, you guys, before the stream. I didn't even think about it, and I'm not sure it would upload while we're here. So I won't. That's why I was like, oh wait, and I grabbed my camera. I was gonna go take a picture, but I don't think it would upload.
So what I was asking her about was, I haven't changed out my DI resin in a year because when I asked you guys before, as long as it's like 2 or below reading for the TDS, it's fine. So it's reading at 0 or 1. And I was like, well, can I believe this? when I switch it to the outgoing, where it's coming out of the RODI maker, it's a 1. When it's incoming, like my own water coming into it, reads about a 30. And she said, maybe because your TDS is so low where you live, it lasts longer. Or
that's
like,
correct.
Is it? That's what.
But here's the real question. Because basically, she's got the first set of the system that has the blocks that she never changes, and then it's got the filters, right? And then the DI is turning brown. And they always say once it turns brown, once it discolors, you need to change it.
Who says that?
Well, the company.
That's what I've read.
The only time you change it based on color is if it's got color changing resin in it.
That's what it is.
Other than that, you always use your TDS.
So it does.
So which do you go by? Would you go by the TDS or would you go by the color?
I go by the TDS unless I've got color change, but I've never used color change in mine. Mine is the same.
Is-
Mine's a 5-stage also.
Okay, so mine is color change and it's turning brown, but my TDS is reading 1 or 0.
Okay, but
So
what's it supposed to change when it's used up?
it'll turn brown when it's used up and it's black normally. So it's
Okay.
starting to turn brown. Like I could switch one out, the other one's still black.
It's probably just an indication you're getting near to the end now.
So
But
here's go ahead. Go ahead.
what's the point of changing it if you're getting the
You're-
decent results there? For
That-
me, my
right.
water's still pretty good, but not anywhere near as good as yours. And mine
Right.
starts usually about 104, but when it comes out, it's usually at the 0.
So
And, but I would expect if I was using the same amount as you do now, at one time I was using a lot more. So I was changing the cartridges about every 4 or 5 months.
Mhm.
But in my case, my 2 DI cartridges were different. One was sort of a roughage one to get the most out of it, and the other one was to finesse it. And it was a different compound in there, and I'm not sure. I can't explain the differences right now unless I go sit and read about it again, because my mind just won't handle that kind of memory.
Oh,
It is 2 different cartridges there, so I can't just replace one and move the other over or whatever.
So here's my question, and Coral Works or anyone can answer. I'm asking Ray, but any of you can answer.
anybody with experience?
Yep.
Yeah.
So here was my question, because here's my thought process. Number one, here's one thing that we didn't tell you, is that her TDS meter is on the system. So it's not like because when she first asked me, I said, oh, we'll just either use the solution they sell or use distilled water. As long as that TDS meter is registering 0, then it's truly telling you that your water is coming out 0. But hers is on the
It's
machine.
attached to it. It's wired
Okay.
in.
So it's,
Can I
whereas
stop you there for a sec?
Yeah.
I want to ask a question. Holly, is there a TDS meter for the incoming and a separate TDS for the outgoing?
It's one, and you switch the switch over. There's a button you push to do it to incoming or outgoing. So I can read both,
but it's
but
just one.
they're attached to the whole system, so I can't take it off and go take it somewhere else and get readings.
Okay.
All the water flows through it.
Mine has separate ones, so if I was, or before I had a handheld one, I used to disconnect the wires from one and then plug it into the other one just to see what the readings would be.
So she can't do that. But the thing is that if when she switches it to incoming, if it's reading 30, and then she switches it to outcoming, it's reading 0 to 1. I feel like it's still working.
Yeah.
I'm just saying she can't even.
I was
test
asking,
it.
I said, is it believable? Like, can there be something wrong with the TDS meter itself?
Well, there could be, but there also might not be. And the odds are that it's going to work okay. To be on the safe side, if you're concerned about it, find someone that has a TDS meter,
Is there
someone in your area that
I'm
you
gonna
can
tell her.
take a sample directly off the unit and take it directly to someone and have them test it and see what theirs says. Now, that doesn't mean that theirs is calibrated properly either, though.
Well, I'm gonna send her a hand, and I might even try to mail her some of the solution. Because
You
I
can always order some calibration fluid.
Yeah, that's it. I use distilled to calibrate, but it's better to use the solution. I totally agree. I'll probably send her one,
so I can test
as a
separately and see
thank
if
you
they
for this
come the same.
amazing vacation. But my question was, here was my thought process. Because if her water is only 30 TDS to begin with, which is incredible, right? I'm like 400 something. So if it's only 30 to begin with, and she's changing everything out as she's supposed to, why is the DI resin turning brown? So my question is, does it get used up just over time, or just because it's in the water, or does it only get used up if it's taking stuff up?
It is,
So,
it is doing its job. That's why it is changing.
but
And
I mean, is it doing more of its job? Like, is this DI resin turning brown just because it's on the machine and it's been 6 months, so it's time to change it, so it's turned
no,
brown?
it
Because I
doesn't,
can't
Or because of
imagine.
how much you run through it.
it doesn't depend on time. It depends on how much it actually has to work at changing or getting the ions out of the water.
That's
So
why it lasts so long.
It,
Then
bi-
maybe
it, bi-
right.
it's
it
a
is
chemical
right.
resin that it binds up the ions that are in the water, so it's removing them, and it becomes a part of the resin mass, and then they're no longer in the water, so the water comes out ion free. That's why it's not good to drink it, because you can't even measure the pH of the DI water.
I
Right.
discovered that I was going to use it for my freshwater tank, and it's not usable for the
Sure.
freshwater.
Oh yeah, no. But
Yes, you
no,
can use it for your freshwater tank. It's just not good to drink it because people need electrolytes, and there are none in it.
And
So you
what
can drink
was
some.
pH was not right for the
Yeah.
freshwater fish. It was so off that I'd have to amend it.
Well,
You'd have-
that's easy enough. You can dump stuff in it to make it palatable, or to make it good
Yeah,
for
but
your freshwater.
work to fix it than it is to use my
Right.
tap water.
right.
When
So
you've got
Ray,
a starting TDS of 30, why bother? If I
right.
had a TDS of 30, I wouldn't even bother for seahorses.
I know. That's what I told her. She was like, "Well, I did seahorses for years before I used RODI," and I'm like, you have 30 TDS." Of course. Right. I'm with you, Ray. But my only other question about the machine, and I know I've kind of asked it, but I'm just emphasizing on it, is that I don't understand why, for instance, her filters are pure white. No, I mean, they look like they haven't even been used. They're perfect. So the first part of the system doesn't, like mine looks
Well, I
dirty
got a
and
couple kind of
spotted.
getting dirty, but I test it because that's the part that removes chlorine is the membranes and stuff, right?
Right. So
Different
I know it
things.
depends on what it removes, but does that mean so if the DI is the only part of her system that's getting used up, what does that mean, Ray? That she just has a lot of ions in the water? Is that what you said?
Sorry, say that again.
So if the
She
only
thinks my
hang
filters
on.
look really clean. The white
No,
filters.
let me
Just
ask
one at a time.
hang on. Okay, I know. I'm sorry. So the question is, if you have a 5-stage system and four of the stages look like they haven't even been used. Like they're really clean, they're really clear. You know, you don't need to replace the filter because they look so good, but the DI is getting used up. What does that mean? Does that mean there's something of
Well, it
in the
means that there's
water?
ions in the water that are being removed, but the other ones, the pre-filters, are unable to take anything out of the water because it's not there.
Gotcha.
So our
It has
water.
nothing to do with the ions.
Yeah.
So I was telling her our water here comes from underground aquifers,
Yeah.
from snow melt, and so we have really clean water here. So maybe that is what
I think
the
so.
difference
And I'm
is.
going to see it tomorrow, y'all. I'm going to see the snow melt. But
We're
Coral,
gonna show her 15 feet snowpacks tomorrow
woo!
in 85-degree weather.
Like, how does that even happen? How does that happen? Snowpacks in 85? Okay. Anyways, it's going to be a miracle for me, and I can't wait to see it. But Coral Works said you need to remineralize RO before you use it in freshwater. Right. That's exactly what she was saying.
Mhm.
But that's like a lot of work. Why not just use her tap water that
Yeah.
obviously has at least some of the minerals? So that's another good question. Like, if you were doing discus or angelfish or whatever, any of the ones that need like the tanned water or the they don't need as clean a water as seahorses, but I remember using RODI for those type fish and remineralizing it with what I wanted in it. But if you have 30 TDS, would you want to add to that water anyways? like I can't imagine doing a reef with water that's only 30 TDS unless you remineralize it. So I'm just curious, Coral Works, what you think about all that. I don't know I'm asking the question. I don't know the answer because that I'm used to 400 TDS, 430. It's insane. Like if I didn't strip my water, it wouldn't work. So my method has always been strip the water, add back what you need, add to the tank. But if you had 30 TDS, how do you find out what it does have in it? Like if it has enough of what you need.
Well, I have
for
a
a certain
report
tank.
from the water company, so I can actually show you what's in our water.
There we go. I won't know what any of it means, but I get ya. So I just wonder if you have your own water report, what do you look for? Do you look for, like my water report when I got one had arsenic in it, and I'm like, oh my God, no.
There's not much water that doesn't have it.
Really?
There's all kinds of stuff in water. And yeah, in ours, like they treat our water with chloramine. So we do have that. So like for my freshwater tanks, we just use tap water and the AquaSafe like water treatment, the liquid stuff you put in to dechlorinate and
call it a day.
Water, and that's all I use. The goldfish and all Scott's fish tanks that he's ever had, he just used water from the hose, never put anything in the freshwater tanks.
Wow. And that's interesting. Like if it's treated with chloramines, chloramine, however you say it, like why would that be okay? Like why wouldn't you need?
Well, the water stuff I put in it gets rid of that because it's a dechlorinator.
But I mean, for the goldfish.
The goldfish don't care. They're hardy as hell.
Okay. Listen, my first tanks, I didn't use anything. I didn't know. So I'm just trying to look at, and again, guys, if you're starting a Seahorse tank, first Seahorse tank, take every precaution. Do RODI, use Prime if you're not, etc. But I'm just saying, for any of us people that have been doing it for a minute, I also like to discuss what could we take out of our routine that's not needed to make them less
labor-intensive.
Labor-intensive, thank you. Holly was asking earlier, she was having trouble with the chiller. And she was really worried. We won't go into details, but she was really worried because she didn't want to add too many Seahorses to a tank. Now that I've been here, my answer to her was, I would totally add those Seahorses. If I had to, if the chiller quits, I would totally add those 2 Seahorses to the 75-gallon tank. Again, if you're brand new and setting up, stick to 30 gallons per pair. Stick to it. It's a better way to do things. You're going to have more success. But when you're Holly and you've been doing this for a minute and you know when something's wrong with your Seahorse and you have her system's really impressive. So like
for homemade Scott's plumbing.
But I'm like, you can take everything's a risk, right? Risk tolerance. But if it were me, like I'm doing dangerous things with my tanks, not dangerous, but risky things with my tanks because I kind of know when there's a problem, right? And then I know how to fix it. Usually, I could get burned. You guys, I might be on here in a month being like, "Oh my God, I lost all my Seahorses." So it's better always, especially if you're new, to do things the right way, follow the rules. But I'm just also again looking for shortcuts for us that have been doing it for a minute. Like Ray, did you keep doing things the same way the whole time you kept Seahorses, or did you find shortcuts?
I probably did take some shortcuts many times, and I know many times I overstocked a tank, but then again, I knew enough I was going to have to do things to accommodate the extra stocking. So I couldn't treat it just as, I couldn't put 8 Seahorses in a 40-gallon tank and expect to do the same water changes and the same cleaning type. I had to do a lot more, but that's not something that I'd recommend to people until they've got a lot of experience.
Right. And I was telling Holly, like we were talking earlier, it totally depends on everything. Like there's so many, it's so hard to say this is the way to do it because there's so many ways you can do it. in my 40-gallon, I have too many seahorses right now. I know I told you guys weeks prior or a week ago, 2 weeks ago, that I was going to separate them. And I did take, I think, 1 or 2 out, but I've got 4 seahorses in there. That's way too many for that tank. But I also added all these macros, right? And so the macros are doing this huge job for me. Doesn't mean that I can slack and not do water changes or any of that, but I'm just more comfortable. Tanya, if you're watching the live stream, I gotta call you back. Anyways, so there's just, once you, for a newcomer, do things the right way. Zen, we're gonna set you up right so that you have everything right. But then you get to a point where you can figure out.
I learned everything I know from these people. You can trust them.
And I would say too, in Holly's situation, so Ray, let's take it into an actual situation if that's okay. Okay, so if you have 4 seahorses in a 75-gallon tank, okay, you have a sump that has a huge skimmer rated for
400
gallons,
440,
right?
I think it is.
You have bioballs, you have Robert King char chambers, 2 of them. You have a really good setup. Like, it's a really good setup for seahorses, and you're using all artificial decorations, so you can clean the floor whenever you want. You can bleach bucket stuff whenever you want. Would you be afraid to add 2 more seahorses to it? And it has a chiller too and heater.
No.
Yeah. See, that's.
But again, I can't tell somebody else that without me knowing what their skill level is.
Yeah. So her other question was, she said, so I usually do 20-gallon water or 20% water changes.
Or 20-gallon. No,
okay.
And it's different. So for my bigger tank, it's about a third.
Okay.
Or no, for the smaller tank, the 55-gallon is a third. Because it's about 55 gallons. I do a 20-gallon water change, but I do a 20-gallon water change weekly on the 75-gallon as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then she says also, because I'm changing out 5 gallons a day roughly too through siphoning. So she says that adds to how much you're water changing.
Yeah.
So I said, well, if I can put all the seahorses into one tank, I would be changing out more water to make out for the more.
Well, her question was, so I'm sorry to reiterate what she said, because my brain works slower. So for anybody who was like, what did she just went fast. Basically what I said was, I've watched her process, and the way that she feeds the seahorses and then removes any excess food, and then she's adding back basically 5 gallons of water a day of salt water to these tanks just from removing food and removing eggs, removing what. And I'm very jealous. I was very angry, you guys.
Well, they're not in the pouch, so they wouldn't have made babies anyway.
Still, I'm like, give them to me. I'm gonna take them home. Anyways, my point is, so Ray, if you're doing that much siphoning, that it's equaling 5 gallons a day, then you're literally doing a small water change every day. So her question was, if I were to have to, she doesn't have to yet, but if I were to have to move the 2 seahorses into the 75-gallon tank with a 15-gallon water, 20-gallon sump with 15 gallons of water.
It's about 50 gallons.
So we're saying 90-gallon tank. If I had to move 2 seahorses into that tank that already has 4, then I'm over the technical limit. And would I need to double my water change? So go from 20 gallons to 40. What is your answer?
Knowing what Holly has said about her tank over the years, I'm a little bit easier to say something, because when someone usually sends me a message and questions me about their water changes and that, I don't know their systems. Yes. I don't know anything about it. And it is so hard. I can't advise somebody on something without me actually knowing. In my case, in my tanks, I know this tank needed this other system. It looked like exactly the same. It was same size tank and everything, but I had to do things different. You know, it's just so hard when it comes to telling somebody just what they need in terms of water changes. But in Holly's case, I feel like while they're not my systems, over the time I know enough about it
Yeah.
that I would say she shouldn't have to. I would say maybe still the 5 a day she's doing, and up to 20 to 25, and then
That's
just keep a watch on it. And
uh-huh.
and by keeping a watch on it long term, just if you run into something that doesn't look right, and you may be heading towards a problem, at that point, maybe do a bigger change at that time, and then maybe go from the 25 up to say 35 for a while, and see if the problem comes back again. See, there isn't a test kit that we
Oregon.
can use for the DO, so we have no way to actually measure and know for sure. So it's always the case that we have to learn our own system, what
Yes.
what it takes, and be aware of what is going on in that system, so that
Start
you
off
can,
following the rules and
you're
then
really aware of it. You'll notice when something isn't the same,
absolutely.
and if you catch it at the right time, you won't have problems.
Yep.
If you're not very observant, you're going to have problems.
Mhm.
I feel like I'm getting a tan already, you guys. Holy shit. She's
Yeah,
like
and I've
so
been liking
dark.
her.
It's not
That's-
funny.
That's coloration from the wine.
Oh, Ray, stop it. Don't beat me up. Stephen P 2003 Aquatics. I think I need to get with you on the side. I think we were trying to schedule a time to talk, and then I had to come to California. Yay me. But I still want to talk with you and get you on board to discuss what we can discuss for Wine Wednesday and have you on as a guest. But the water company absolutely does not report everything. Backtracking a bit. And Ray, I said the same thing to her. I mean, like, again, coming to see these tanks, I'm seriously impressed. My biggest seahorse in the entire time I've done seahorses, he got to like 12 inches, but he was never as fat as Sadie.
She's an eater.
No, but that's
She's
good.
my eater.
That's so good. She's like thick, like you boys that like thick girls. She's thick, and I'm like, oh my god. And it's not like, I'm not trying to say she is like, you've seen fat seahorses that like have fat bulging out. We always say, Ray, right? You don't want to see a seahorse that's concave, right? But also you don't want a seahorse that literally between the spines there's fat bulging out. I've had seahorses like that. I really have, where they're getting fat, right? This isn't a fat seahorse. She's just huge. I mean,
Stop for a sec. Did you ever stop to think that a happy seahorse is probably going to be healthier and more accommodating and will look much better? And the fact that we know for a fact that Holly spoils her seahorse is something awful. When you look at the decor she puts in, all the work she goes to making them really happy, how many of us actually go to the levels that Holly does? Okay.
She's like,
there might be something there.
but look what happens when you do, right? That's the other end of the spectrum. She spoiled them, but they're huge. I mean, like, I'm telling you guys, pictures don't do justice. These seahorses are huge in a good way. I feel like I'm saying
me that when she first came here, she's looking at she's all, your seahorses are huge. I'm all, are they?
I mean,
I haven't seen other ones in person.
I'm going to go home and smack mine and be like, you guys are twigs. Fatten up. Get bigger. Because, I mean, they're not just fat. They're huge. I mean, and I remember my first seahorses.
But they're
were
lazy.
Like that. They are. They are. She does baby them. She does. But Sadie, man, she even came up to me. I've got videos I'll post when I get to a posting place. But Sadie came up to me, and I'm sure she just wanted food. But we connected. We bonded.
She's all, I can work with you, lady. You got it turkey-based.
Right? That's it. Okay. Oh, Steven, I'm sorry then. I guess I'm thinking of the wrong person. There's another Steven that is breeding, I think, Whitey, no, Combs Fry. And I'm pretty sure his name's Steven. I could be wrong. I'm terrible with names. I'm sorry. But I thought you were him. So not trying to pressure you on that thing. But yeah, we need to pressure Zen for sure to get her tank started.
It's time for Zen to have some seahorses.
It is.
Believe me, we'll help you. These people helped me. I could not have the seahorses that I have without advice from Ray and
All of
Kelly
us.
and Dan and
This community.
and Chris and
Yeah,
the whole community.
absolutely.
The way she gets all the seahorse people together,
I try.
and I learned so much by just joining your little group and the things you guys have taught me. I would have lost the seahorses by now, probably, because I wouldn't have known a lot of this stuff. It's not in my books, my old seahorse books and things.
I'm trying to find a real quick. Actually, I'm gonna
share a picture.
One, if I can make them upload, and I'm doing that in response to Cora Works saying Stephen needs encouragement to start a macroalgae tank. Though I want to show you my macroalgae tank, the new one, not the old one that was in the magazine, the new one. And I'm gonna go back to your question, Shyla, but
There's
Ray,
Sadie. I saw her.
I know I've got tons of Sadie, but you never used macros, did you, Ray? Yeah, you did. You used
Most of my macros were in my reef tanks, but I did in one of my barb tanks. I did macros in there. Only red ones.
Okay, well,
I used to have the red. The one you told me was for the sump. More they're egu or something that sounds like that. Egu or
what are they? What you say?
Egu red. It goes in the sump. You told me, not in the tank. It's not a real pretty one. Red egu or
I have no idea.
Yeah.
No idea. Hang on, this is asking me for buses. I hate this stuff.
Oh,
is that a bus? That's a bus. Is that all the buses? Hang on, guys.
There's
sorry.
A bus.
Any
She's
other
trying
buses?
to go through the security check here.
Traffic light. This has always been my question. I wish you guys could see what I'm seeing, but Holly, like, does this count? Is that part of the traffic light? I know.
I think all of these.
Okay.
I would say not just the red part.
I hate these things. I get why they're necessary, but
gotta make sure.
All right, I think I'm back in. If I can pull these pictures up to show you guys what we're talking about.
Gotta get past the ads too.
Yeah. And see, I can. This is what you see when I do this. I can't see what you guys are seeing or you anymore.
Yeah.
It's not looking like it's going through yet because
there's Cheryl. There's me. There's you.
They're going through now, so we'll talk while they're going through. I guess
uploading is slow here. We don't get much cell service where I live. We're in the mountains, and cell towers are few and far between. So I told her here we're not in a fast area.
So, anyways, I'm trying to upload and show you guys a picture of Sadie, picture of my macro tank, because it's going to make you salivate, Stephen, because it's so beautiful. And I know I told you guys that I would do pictures as I added them, and I did not. But I will show you the ones that I rinsed, the ones that I didn't rinse, and why I didn't rinse them. I was telling Holly earlier, she was asking me, she was like, so the ones you didn't rinse, aren't you worried that they're going to bring in hydroids and aptasia and, you know, all the yucks?
Pests.
So anytime you don't quarantine or rinse or both or more, you're taking a huge risk. But I know, because I've kept so many macros in the past, that some, the second you freshwater dip them, the second you anything them, they're going to be done, right? And so, but as I was explaining to Holly, they're usually the Halamida type macros that are like so, I don't know a good way to describe it. They're, if you've put your fingers on them, they'll slip through your fingers. They're like silk, and they have a slime coat, and they're just like this gelatinous. Is that the right word? Gelatinous type macroalgae, and they're not
Stuff doesn't
for.
stick to them. That kind
I
of
mean,
is.
no, nothing would stick to them. They're just slippery, so I guess it's not gelatinous. I would have to do a video when I get home to show you guys what I mean. But like, I have rose macroalgae. It literally floats around the tank in this beautiful, spinny, gorgeous, like just red thing, right? But if you pick it up, it'll fall out of your fingers because it'll slip through your fingers. It will, and if you dip it, it's gonna die almost immediately. But hydroids, the base, you could risk having free floating hydroids enter the tank through that. But Aptasia could never attach to it. Like it just couldn't. It's not possible. So those kind of macros, I just don't even worry about. I do worry about bacterial stuff with those, but like Aptasia and stuff, yeah, you're not. And if and here's the thing, because Ray's gonna be mad at me.
I never get mad at you.
Well, the gelatin, or not, I need to stop saying
Can
the
we say they're slippery, I
the
guess.
slippery macros that I added to the tank, and I can post some names if you need them. But the slippery ones, not only did I not dip them or treat them, I didn't even quarantine them because they need a
Doesn't want to kill them.
I don't want to kill them by dipping them or rinsing them. And they need an environment that has high organics and nutrients, right? So you can't put them in a brand new quarantine tank and let them sit there, even with light, even with food.
You'd have to
It's
give
not
them dirty
enough.
water, maybe.
You'd have to give them dirty water. And so because I was coming on this trip, I was in a hurry, and I added them to the tank. I know Ray's going to be like,
and then she laughed and came here.
and then I left.
And is crossing her fingers.
But I trusted it. I trusted it because they're macros. And these are, again, guys, are macros that you're not using for really nutrient export. They're not sump algae, as I call them.
They're pretty.
They're display algae. And they're not carrying anything like Aptasia in. They could, I'm guessing. Ray, do you know? Can the slippery macros that can't, like Aptasia couldn't get on them, but could they bring in bacteria?
I have no idea what. Well, anything can bring bacteria in.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So there's that risk, but I feel good about it because there's so many benefits to macros. Like again, not with them really because they're display macros, but they still grow. They still take up stuff, and they're so pretty. I hope this finishes uploading. I really want to show you guys.
By the way, just something when we're talking about pictures and so on, I think it's something that has to be made, or people need to be aware of. And it's become so much worse now. But in the past, over many decades, I've seen people posting pictures. Well, first pictures that were in magazines and so on that were hobby related to saltwater aquariums and so on. But once I got into computers in '98 and started seeing things online there and got onto forums, there was a lot of people posting pictures of systems that they had, and it was taken at a point in time.
Yes.
And if you saw them maybe 6 months afterwards, there was probably nothing left of that tank.
Yep.
Yet, there was all sorts of bragging about they would buy up all this stuff, throw it in the tank, and say, "Look at this, it's my tank." And some of them say, "Oh, they've had it for years." And in fact, it was probably a case of months that many of them had it that long. I'm not saying that everybody was like that, but there was an awful lot of it. Now, with the advent of the AI, now you don't even know if the tanks or the pictures are real.
Right.
So you always have to have that in mind at the time there. Don't take for granted that what you're seeing is real or that it's a long-term thing.
Yeah.
I keep leaning forward like I do, and then I look like I'm 5 times bigger than Holly. So I'm like, no, look, I'm not. I promise. Okay, so I will show. They finally uploaded, and So I want to be clear. This macro tank is brand new. Okay, it's again just like Ray said. Let's look back on it in 6 months, and in 6 months, if it's doing well, I'll tell you what I did. Whether it be changing lighting, whether it be adding supplements, whether it be whatever, I will tell you what I've done, because I agree with Ray. It's really scary when people post stuff and are like, "Look at my gorgeous tank with all this NGS and seahorses," and you're like, "Yeah, but let's see it in 6 months." So I want to be clear. This is new, okay? But here we go. Let me get it open. Where'd I go? Where do I keep going? Like I'm losing.
It's in your messenger, right? So down here.
Okay, thank you. All right, so first thing we're going to show is, let's see, now where do I go? Sorry, guys. All right, can you see it, Ray?
Yep.
All right,
There's Sadie.
so this is Sadie, and I mean, even this picture doesn't do justice. That's my fat little finger, and I was just trying to show, like, but that doesn't even do justice because, again, there's depth. I was trying to explain to my
Put a
girl.
ruler in there for her to curl her tail around.
What?
Put a ruler in the tank so she can curl her tail
That-
around.
Yeah. But
And
I was trying to explain to my girls again, you guys, I sent this video of a canyon and I was like, you guys, I can't even, I'm like so like
Overwhelmed.
nervous right now and
We
overwhelmed.
drive around here and she's scared to death.
I get scared because these canyons are like, it's like if you ran, oh my gosh. Anyways, the girls were like, oh yeah, whatever. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. It's not showing the depth, right? Pictures
Depth of
are
field,
are lies.
The
So I was
3D
trying
effect.
to show how big she was. This doesn't do it. Because if I put my hand in the tank and held Sadie, she would be bigger than my hand. Like I was trying to show it, but it didn't because she's so far off from the tank. She would be bigger than my hand. She's huge. The next thing I was going to show, this is excuse the mess up top, but this is the macro tank right now. Steven, that's why you need to do it. You can't, I can't zoom in, but if you look right here, I've got the blue hypnea. I really, if anybody knows where blue scroll is, I really want blue scroll. But like this thing's fake, but everything else besides the rock is real. The seahorses are eating, but usually they're
Is
face
Aphrodite
down.
in this tank?
Yep. And
Is
they're
she where you can see her? Who's
face
she?
down. I'm really bad with them now. No,
Of who's
look,
who?
the reason I know that's
I
not
made
Aphrodite is because of the ball on her tail. That's
that's the one.
Yep, from Ocean Raven. Yep. So Aphrodite is somewhere hidden in the macros. But and like that's fake. The little statues are fake, but all the rest is real. And I got some, I love Codium. This is one of my favorites. This is one of the Seahorses' favorites. And then if you look in the very middle, the pink that's within the Codium. So I hope you can see my arrow. The Codium is the green. And then the pink is a Halomedia species. And it's that gelatinous, that's not a good word, slippery, slimy,
It's slippery,
pretty stuff that you don't want to dip or freshwater anything because it will die, but it's not going to carry anything in. And then I think I had a video.
Why the low water level?
Because everything's off.
Oh,
You see no bubbles. I just had it off. This isn't the video I wanted. Hang on, let me see if I can find the one that I wanted to show you guys. And I'll post this stuff, but it's hard to find stuff because I'm taking so many pictures and videos here. But I had one of the rose macroalgae that's just gorgeous. Give me 2 minutes to find it. 1 minute to find it. So that's a good one. Hang on, that's a good one. So, Messenger. Sorry, guys, you're looking at this for a second. Actually, Holly, can you talk about anything while I find this?
Well,
You're
yeah,
like,
I have
no.
some. Yeah, I kind of can because I don't know what stuff is. Is this a live Gorgonian back here?
Yes.
Is that the Gorgonian?
It absolutely is.
Cool, cool.
All right. So I'm sending this one real quick. Trying to get it, guys. I should be
It
prepared
looks
and have 'em
like
ready.
what it is. The reason your water level is low, it's below the weirs. Looks like so you probably had your pump turned off.
I told Ray everything's
Yeah.
off. That's why.
Oh, here we go. Now it's video. Yeah, they're moving around.
A little bit, but this is without the pumps. I really want to show with the pumps. That's what I'm trying to do. Trying.
Let me see what mine are doing right now. See, they're not.
Taking a second. See if I can.
See how my tank steams up because the water in the tank is so cold compared to the room.
Yep. All right. I'm going to stop sharing for a second and try to make this work. Sorry. Whoops. Sorry, guys, but I would love, if anybody's interested in macros, I will say if I can't make this work, I want to show you. Yeah, see, that's Rose.
Oh, pretty.
I know. And
That's pretty.
in the
Pretty.
waves, if there's video, I know there is. It like tumbles, but you can tell.
So I'm curious how the seahorses interact with the macros, like even the ones that aren't Gorgonians for them to hitch to. Will they hitch to those kind too?
So the kind I'm about to show you, if I can make this video upload, they're not going to hitch to it. They'll slide upon it, right? They'll go in it and rub on it, right? But they can't hitch to it. If you touch this kind of macro with your fingers, it's going to slip out of your fingers. If they try to hitch, it's going to slip away from them. It's not like codium and such that they could hitch to, or Gorgonian that they could hitch to. Not like that at all. Is it just still sending? I think it's just still sending.
That's what, yeah, your thing's going around. So it's uploading. Like I told her, everything uploads slow here because we don't get much cell service.
It's all right. I mean, if it doesn't come, I'll post it for sure.
We're in a small mountain community, so it's all slow here.
But it's amazing. I mean, it's amazing, y'all. It's really fun here. Ah, don't spill the wine. So I'm trying the Pacific Redwood organic red wine.
No sulfates, I think.
No sulfates from the area. Let's take a taste. Really unique. So I'm the type that loves a Pinot Noir.
It's grown.
I'm trying to let this upload while I'm talking about wine, guys. But I love Pinot Noir. I can drink Merlot. I can drink Cabernet. I don't really like it. I don't like any wine that, this is my low class self. I don't like any wine that after you take a drink, you're like, that dry in your mouth, yuckiness, not yucky. Some people love it. Like my sister loves Cabernet and Shiraz and all those. I just don't. But this is like almost a mix between a Pinot Noir and a Merlot. So it's perfect for me.
Interesting. It comes from Redwood Valley, California. Pacific Redwood Valley, California. By the way, I'm not close to the Redwoods. I'm in the northeastern part of California. So for me to drive to the Redwoods, they are in Northern California where I am, but on the coast. So it's about a 4-hour drive for me to get to the Redwoods.
Gotcha.
But this is like Northern California. It's between me and Oregon, but to the west.
Well, it's good.
One of our locals.
Like it. Ray, you never found a wine you liked? Well, you didn't let me do a taste session with you. All right, I think one of them has uploaded, so let me see. I keep losing, see how it doesn't tell me where Facebook is? It's so weird. All right, there it is.
I like the other spirits too much.
Okay, Ray.
I'm the same. I told her, I said, I used to drink wine, but I spent more money on wine for less of a buzz.
Right.
So I like my cocktails.
I also got I also, because you guys know I'm going to Italy in October with my children, and I'm trying my first Italian wine. So Holly showed me all the good spots to get what I need, even though she doesn't like the wine as much.
Mhm.
Okay, here we go, sharing. Here we go. All right, so I think it was this one. Nope, it was this one. All right, so this is I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, guys, but Halamida, Halamida. Is someone correct me if I'm wrong? But it's this slippery, slimy, beautiful macro that its only purpose in a tank. It does take up nutrients, but it's really just to be pretty. But if you watch it in the flow,
Oh,
it's just
cool.
gorgeous. I mean, it's just no, a seahorse couldn't hitch to it. In fact, it's very, very difficult to attach it to anything, right? Like it floats around my tank.
So I have a question for you then, since I don't do macros. So when you're attaching macros to things,
Mhm.
can you super glue them like
You
the way
can.
you do coral and stuff?
So again, you can unless it's something like this.
Depends on the type.
Right. You cannot, this super glue would not work. No. It would either kill it or it wouldn't stick. Period. If you, I wish I had brought a piece to, which I couldn't have, but
No way.
I
yeah.
wish I could have, because to touch it, it gives you a new
Yeah.
understanding. It's
Probably like we have sea
it feels like
algae,
slime.
you know, like seaweed here in California, and I know the texture of that.
But
so it's
even
like
even
that.
seaweed, there's no base, there's no
Floats
stem,
around.
there's nothing in it that's hard.
Mhm.
Like
It
you
may
really,
have that in time. I had
what?
in one of my reef tanks, I had some, and
Yeah.
it floated around for well more than a year.
See, I love it.
Eventually, it ended up fastening to a rock. And
Yeah.
once it fastened to the rock, then I started seeing pieces come up, and they were anchored elsewhere, on like on other rock.
Yep.
So I don't know whether it has spores or something, because I don't know enough about mackerel. So
So
I don't know if there were spores that lodged somewhere and then it grew, but I ended
I
up with little
know
pieces.
I don't even know enough to answer that question, but I can say many people have seen this species. It's Halimeda floridiana, I think, and many people have seen it attach itself. I'm just saying you can't attach it.
So how do you attach them or get them to stay where you want?
So this one you can't.
So how is it? It's staying there though. Obviously, you have it braced between things.
I
how
probably
is
have
it?
I probably have a little piece
You have
under
a
that rock.
clothespin or rubber. Like,
Nope.
how do you get them to stay then?
So this guy literally floats around my tank. He does.
Oh,
He's
so
not
it
right
just
now.
happened to get caught somewhere, and he's staying there for now, but he'll
Yep.
be somewhere else
So
later.
this is
Okay.
caught between a rock
And a hard
another,
place.
yeah, and another piece of macro. And then I think the next video, like that's that little species that's in the codium.
Almost looks like a little animal.
It's
kinda
just
cool.
this slimy, beautiful if it grows. If it decides, like Ray said, if it decides to attach, if it finds a place that it's happy and it decides to attach, it will become gorgeous.
Will it get caught on a seahorse and bug it?
No,
because it's
no,
floating
no.
around. Do they
No.
move out of its way, or do they like her?
They don't
I just
care
see
about
it floating
seahorses.
around,
Yeah.
and it gets caught on a seahorse.
But you see on this
Now, what do
one,
they do?
at the very beginning of the video, the base is white. That's not good. So it's not happy right now.
Mhm.
It's looking for a happy place.
Yeah, it's
They
a
will
new
attach,
thing.
as Ray said, once they find a happy place.
Mhm.
Hopefully he found his happy place in my codium.
Interesting.
But yeah, I got tuft algae. I got so many species. It's really fun. I love macros. Sir Stephen, you need to just dive in. Oh, I guess I'm done with that. I wanted to show again the tank. And this is an old video. They've even grown a little bit since. But you can make a masterpiece out of macros.
Yeah.
And once these grow and cover the tank, it's going to be gorgeous. All right, I'm done rambling about macros. Done. All right, what else, you guys? I did promise Holly, because we got such a busy schedule tomorrow, that this wouldn't be all night. So I've encouraged Steven to do a macro tank. I feel like I'm taking up all the space too, Holly.
No, that's okay. I'm fine. And you can see us both. We're good.
Oh, and about Sadie, I think Zen Ginger said thick. Right, she is too. I mean, like, I wish I could demonstrate somehow. I'm gonna do the ruler.
Graceful swimmer. She's my most beautiful seahorse. It's almost like she knows she is. She like floats around all proud, and
Queen bee.
You feed her, and she'll like come to the feeding dish at feeding time. But then when you go get the food, she'll like casually swim away and act like she doesn't want it. And then when she's ready, she comes back and eats, and she's like a princess.
So one of the things that we've never been able to do because we're all in separate locations is what I think I'm going to try to do. So if you're not on Seahorse Whisperer page on Facebook, go like it, because if you're available whenever we get time to do it, the next time she feeds, I'm going to try to do a Facebook live stream. We'll see with the Wi-Fi here, but I'm going to try to and show the feeding of them and everything that we talk about every week. I'm going to try to show it.
We'll see if she's awake at 6 a.m.
Right. or maybe the next day. I'm just saying I'm going to try before I leave for us to do a live stream on Facebook that's not like Wine Wednesday, but just a quickie where we chit chat if there's any questions, cool, or, you know, any comments on the beautiful seahorses and tank. We'll try to do that. But so Shyla asked, does changing salt cause issues for a tank? I was forced to change salt as my usual salt was out of stock. I started facing cyano issues. Now that I have changed back to my old salt, the cyano is gone. Ooh, good question. Ray, thoughts?
Never experienced it myself because in, I don't know, 30 odd years of using salt, I basically only use the regular Instant Ocean. But in the last 20 odd years, I mixed it half and half with my own mix, which is just basically made up of 4 chemicals. And they're the 4 primary chemicals used in salt water. And then I depended on the impurities in it to provide some of the other elements that I wasn't adding, but also being mixed with the Instant Ocean. I figured if there was anything that actually needed something, there was probably enough coming from whatever Instant Ocean put in them. But I did that for both my reef tanks and for my Seahorse tanks. And it initially started many decades ago, and the original formula that I drew the 4 elements from was in chemical oceanography in an article by Frank Malero, I think his name was. And then once I made up, when I decided on the formula that I wanted, I ran it by Randy Holmes Farley, and he said it would be no problem. And so I started using it, and many decades later, like when I
you kind of had
last year, then I was still doing it.
So Shyla, I'm curious from you, which are the 2 brands? Yeah, if you could.
I think it's possible that another one might have had some nutrients in it that fed the cyano. The cyano, the spores or whatever it is, are always present. It's just that it doesn't appear unless there's something there to feed it.
So in answer to your question, my answer, and I'm not an expert, but Shyla, I would say you're onto something. And I would say that the secondary salt that you had to purchase because your old salt wasn't available, probably, as Ray said, had some mineral in it, something that the cyano liked. And so obviously, you know, to stick to the old salt or salt that you're with again, and let us know the brands, because there's a lot of salts though that are for reef tanks. Like they do have added minerals. They
Mhm.
do have, you know,
They're more
high levels of
expensive,
calcium
I've
and
never
high
used
levels
those.
of magnesium
Mhm.
and etc. And who knows, you know?
I
Shiloh,
use
we want to know
purple.
how your tanks are doing too, and how the babes are doing. We want to know
Yeah,
what's
the
up.
youngsters,
But
the
go on.
juveniles. I only use the purple Instant Ocean bucket, and sometimes I get the Reef Crystals, which comes in orange if it's on sale for cheaper because they have promotions.
Yep.
So I have switched back and forth between those two and never noticed a difference. But most of the time, I just use plain old regular Instant Ocean in the purple.
So I use the Instant Ocean too, the purple brand. But when I had a reef tank, I used the reef crystals. And I would say in my macro tanks, my macro seahorse tanks, when I've used reef crystals, I have noticed a difference. So that's why, again, I think you're onto something, Shyla, is that I can't answer the question. I can't tell you what's in it that makes things grow like
So what was
algae
the
and
difference
cyano.
you noticed? Was it better or
Yeah,
worse?
the
It was better
macros
for
were
the
better.
macros?
Yes.
Okay.
So the macros grew better, whether it be that they, you know, again, more magnesium or calcium, or I don't know.
Whatever it may be.
But
that's
whatever
in there.
was added to that salt to make it reef crystals helped the macros. So in your case, I'd go back to the basics, whatever your basic brand was, you already have. But yeah, that's what I would do because most of these salts these days are aimed at reefs. I mean, they're aimed at coral and providing what coral needs. And in like a basic seahorse tank, we don't need that stuff. It's
Yeah,
a
like
hindrance.
in my tank, there's nothing
right
live other than the
So like
seahorses
again, for
and
me, I
fish.
might switch to reef crystals if my macros start doing but I also am playing with supplements and etc. In my first macro tank, I never did anything. I used purple Instant Ocean, light, and seahorse poop, and it worked. But this is a bigger tank, even though it's a small tank. It's still bigger than my first one. So I'll see, and I'll definitely share. You know what's working, what's not, as I go. But I got to play with it and get there. Ray, were you gonna say something?
Uh,
I feel like Ray was gonna say something.
I was just typing there.
Oh, he said, I'll tell you the truth, guys. He said, with Holly setting the schedule, this might be the first time ever Kelly's consistently on time. Well, good job, Holly.
I had
I don't mean just for this
Hey,
show here. Like
I-
for everywhere you go, you're probably going to be on time.
What'd you say?
For wherever you're going in this time that you're there, you're probably going to be on time always.
Dragging my ass out of bed. You better believe it. By the hair. She's like,
well,
get up. No.
well, and I told her because I had to correct her on the schedule because she goes live from home at 8 p.m. And I said, well, your 8 p.m. is my 5 p.m. So you have to go live at 5.
The whole, the whole
day.
the
I'm
whole
like, "We gotta
day,
get home."
the whole day, she's like, we gotta hurry, we gotta get there. You
She's
need
all,
time.
we have
And I'm
all
like,
these hours. We're not till 8 o'clock. I said, yeah, but your 8 is my 5.
silly me. It's okay. We got here, right? And we were on time, and it's awesome. My hair looks atrocious. Yeah,
It looks good.
This heat does nothing for hair, but it's fine. I don't care. I'm having fun, having a blast. Did we have any seahorse questions though? Before, because our dinner's waiting, so I'm like, yeah, we need to speed this up. And I know that it's early for a Wine Wednesday, but we keep saying we're going to shorten them anyway. So, if there's any questions, we can face them or take them. Not
We
face
can face
them. We can take them. I'm hungry. Or, you know, of course, we'll be back next week. And I just wanted to share that I'm having a blast and it's amazing here. If you guys can ever get lucky enough to visit Holly, you really should, because it's an amazing area, amazing experience.
I told her she wouldn't believe it when I said it's way different here than what you think California is.
Right. I'm thinking Hollywood and, you know, all the ridiculousness.
Beaches.
Nothing.
No, it's not. We're in the middle of freaking nowhere.
It's beautiful nature. It's beautiful. Tomorrow, I'm so excited to share that. But I mean, she's got like animals coming up outside her window. It's insane to me. Like I don't even. It's really
A guy
cool.
showed her a picture of a bear on his phone. He's all, I've seen 5 bears in the last week back here. And Kelly's all,
Do I need
do they
bear
come after
spray?
me?
Well, because you watch the movies, right? You watch the movies, and it's like bears always attack and they kill. And no, the bears here are sweet and kind, and
Well,
they
they're
just want
more
to be left
afraid
alone.
of you than you are of them.
Right.
Typically, you just give them their space. And
I still hope to see one, but let's everybody
probably
say
not.
say a prayer that I don't die. And on the flight home, that's all. But anyways, I've got lots of stuff to post. Oh no, didn't spill. We're good.
Oh, that's why I
Um,
use these cups.
And that's it. So lots of stuff to post. Glad we got to talk about macros. I will dive into macros next week more because I'll take some pictures of each individual macro that I have and like talk about it when we're live and maybe post something about it.
And it's Sadie's 4th birthday next Wednesday, so maybe
We're gonna
we'll
have a
share some
birthday
Sadie.
party. We're gonna have a Sadie birthday party and a macro show and tell, I guess. So definitely be with us next week. But Ray, did you have anything else this week? You guys, if you have any questions, we're here for your questions, not just to share how much fun we're having. But again, I'm hungry, so dinner's over there. We'll take any questions, but speak now or forever hold your peace till next week. But Ray, anything that I missed or anything we need to chat about? All right.
Well, I should give Cheryl hell though, because she sent that stupid hurricane up here.
Oh,
yeah.
Cheryl is actually trying to join us again, guys.
Yeah.
Hopefully she'll be back next week. Is that what she said?
They have a lot of rain, I think she was saying in her. They're having bad weather right now. Torrential rain here. She lives in Texas, and yeah. So she's having bad weather today.
So
I think we've got the first edge of the storm from that hurricane that's reached here in Ontario. So we're getting the deluge here, but the problem is now it has slowed up so much that we're going to be experiencing it now for a minimum of another week.
For a long time.
yeah.
Our weather is slow here right now too, but it's been record high temperatures, they say, for what, 10 days straight? I mean, I've
My
seen
fault.
never before have I seen it much over 100 at my house in the mountains. Here where I live at 3,000 feet, it was 103 the other day. And we average this time of year probably like high 80s to like maybe 90-ish or low 90s. We're going up to 8,000 elevation tomorrow, and it's supposed to be 85 up there.
Right now, we've got 99% humidity at low 90s temperature.
That's insane. I don't think I've ever experienced that humidity unless it was New York City in August. I don't even know what the humidity was when I visited, but I felt it, and it was, you feel wet all the time.
I was going to say, it's so
that
sad. I can't return the invite to Holly. Like, she brought me up here. I'm having this amazing vacation and an amazing experience. I can't say, come visit me because Indiana sucks. I mean, there's nothing good.
There's some stuff. Well, it's a smaller state, so there's other states, Michigan,
right?
Or whatever.
I could take you to the cabin in Michigan or something. We could find something. I would love to have her come visit, but I'm just saying.
But even in New York City, it's basically alongside part of the Great Lakes system. But here where we are, we've got all of them all around us except for on the north side of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, gotcha.
We're just surrounded by all the Great Lakes. We're down a little peninsula that fits down in between them all.
Yeah. Sorry about you. I'm up here in amazing heat. Good heat. That's not humid. But no, we'll pray you're safe, Ray, for sure, and that the storms don't wreck your area too much. I mean, you're just getting the tail end, right?
Yeah, we're
No.
just getting lots. We're not getting great winds. There are some winds,
A lot of rain.
but mainly it's just the amount of water that's coming down.
Yeah, we could use some
I
water
know. I'm
here.
send some here because we use it. But anyways, I don't see any question, guys. So I am gonna end it tonight. Sorry. If anybody joins later, I apologize for ending it early, but I'm having fun with my buddy.
Yeah.
And we will be back next week, of course. And I'll have tons of pictures posted very soon showing not only the amazing things Holly has shown me in California, but her amazing tanks and just, everything about the experience because it's been really fun. Really amazing.
Glad you're
Appreciate
having
you.
a good time.
All right.
I'm so glad you're here.
No
Thank
kidding.
you for coming.
Sunglasses. And I learned the California, what was it called? Cream Crush?
Oh, yeah. Was it California Dreamin'?
We literally made this up right
It's a
before we started.
California Dreamin' float. So
Dream and Float.
California Dreamin' soda, which is put out by a local soda company called Shasta, named after Mount Shasta in California.
Yeah.
So we have it in our local grocery stores. It's an off-brand, not like Coca-Cola or anything. So they mimic root beer, all the flavors of the big companies. But
it's
they
zero
have
sugar and it tastes like, those old fashioned cream pops.
orange cream soda, yeah. And I put a dollop of ice cream in there, and that was
Yeah.
our drink for tonight.
Well, anyways, we appreciate everybody.
And vodka.
Yeah, I said it. I mouthed it. They
We
saw
can
it.
tell.
I was gonna shush. I was gonna say for some reason I can't see the count tonight. I don't know why.
And maybe you're not seeing the feed. Can you scroll up? Maybe there were questions you didn't see.
I hope not.
Although Ray would see them. Ray would call us. See how
Yeah.
it, yeah.
Starting that. I think I got most. I mean, they were talking back and forth, but I think I got most of it. Zen, we got to get you in a live stream. You don't have to come to California or Indiana. We just need to get you in a live stream to talk more because you're amazing and can't wait to see your seahorses.
Absolutely. And you don't even have to be on the camera. You can black it out and just have your name.
Like so, we could
yeah.
leave Ray by himself.
Yeah.
Anyways, but no, just
Well, I
thanks.
can do that too.
Yes, you
Yeah,
can.
it's easy. Our thing, the platform, actually, I love it because it's super easy. The
Yeah.
buttons are big, so you can see where to mute yourself or
Yeah.
do the camera, or if you want to share something off your computer, there's a button for that, and it's all pretty simple, I think.
Yeah. Well, so guys, again, Holly is gonna be on me to make sure we get the Seahorse Whisperer shirts done. I will be posting tons of stuff from the tanks, the area, everything. So watch my feed and Seahorse Whisperer Society feed. We will be back next week. If I have any guests, I'll announce it. Otherwise, it's just going to be more fun and drinking. I may quit drinking soon, but
I'll
don't
make
hold your
sure
breath.
she posts this. I'll crack my whip. I'll say, you need to post those pictures.
That's it.
Because
She's got me.
I did share pictures on my page of us together. I took her. We spent the day in Sacramento because she flew into the Sacramento airport. So we spent the day in Sacramento
It was so much fun.
yesterday and took pictures together with our new sunglasses and
Yes,
and
she had me get
we had
these.
some fun girly time.
Yes.
And I took her to Evangeline's Costume Mansion, which is 3 stories of Halloween, basically. And she went nuts she didn't know olive oil
Oh my gosh.
and balsamic vinegar.
So wait,
flavors.
before we
Tell
say
her,
that,
tell her
before
that.
we say
What's
that,
the thing?
before we say that, I know that you go to
Yeah.
a fancy Italian restaurant or a fancy Mediterranean restaurant, and your appetizer is bread and the oil with the seasoning, or not seasoning, the
Flavorings.
what do you
and
call
stuff.
cilantro? That's a
Yeah, it's an herb.
herb with the herbs. That's it. I know that's a thing, but I didn't know they had honey, ginger, olive
She didn't
oil.
know we grow it
and,
here.
and grew. Yeah,
California is a huge agriculture. area.
I
where
got to
come
go
from.
to an olive oil. You shouldn't say olive oil. I got to go to a tasting place that had olive oils, vinegars, and what else?
Oh, they had sauces and
Yeah.
olives. Olives. We're in one of the olive capitals of the world here, down in the valley.
And as a wine
So,
person, it was my jam. I
She
really
walked
liked it.
into this place, and her eyes were like, I didn't know this
I
was
bought
a
too
thing.
much.
And I'm like, yeah, where I'm from, it is a California thing. And when you think of California, you don't think of Northern California, you think of Southern. So
Yep.
so people don't picture that we're actually one of the food capitals of the world. So we grow nuts. So almonds are grown here. I was telling her, a lot of fruit.
Yep.
And olives. We're wine. We're an agriculture capital.
And I
here.
found at one of these little shops, I found these pretzels that are covered with powdered Gouda. Oh my god. Oh my god. So good with wine. So like it's just been like this tremendous
It's
experience.
been foodie heaven.
Foodie heaven.
Foodie
I'm getting
wine
fatter,
heaven.
not skinnier, not good, but it's okay. And yeah, just having a blast. Love you guys for joining us tonight. Again, I can't see who's here, unfortunately. I don't know why. But anybody who did join, appreciate you. Anybody who watches later, appreciate you. If you have further questions about California, about the fires, like I learned so much
about fire here.
About fire
And
here.
seeing burned areas
and the craziness that literally she took me through areas where it's like this house burned, this one did not, next door to it. This thing burned, this one did not. And a lot of it's like really you wonder
the
if there's
science
some
of it.
well, the science of it, and you wonder if there's some otherworldly thing, you know, godly thing protecting certain things that didn't burn. So any questions about that, Holly's your lady because she has all the answers. I've learned so much. And you know, any seahorse questions, you can ask them in the comment section because we did kind of veer off in left field, but I'm on vacation, y'all. Get with it. So we'll be back next week with more seahorse stuff. And Ray's like, I'm done with your girly shit for tonight, right?
Listen, you got to have a girls' night out once in a while, so I'd allow that.
Having a girls' week out.
A girls' week out, and I needed it. If my boss tunes in, I'd flip you off, but I won't do it live. No, I'm having my girls' week. But yeah, for tonight, guys, I don't see any more questions. If I've missed them, don't forget you can ask them. I'll see them in the comments. I'll answer them later, and we'll be back next week for sure. But for tonight, I'm going to eat dinner. Have a great night. Happy Wine Wednesday. I already moved to
Night.
The wine.
Happy Wine
Enjoy
Wednesday.
the rest of your trip.
Cheers.